What's going on, guys? Nate here, and today I'd like to talk about what makes for a good quest or mission in a game, and how Bethesda, and realistically every other game studio for that matter, can produce better, more enjoyable quests in the future, and not depend so much on these fillers, if you will, quests that aren't particularly enjoyable, and they exist just to take up space, a concept I'll be exploring a lot later down in this video. We will also be analyzing a few examples, so kick back, relax, and without further ado, let's do further. What I believe truly defines a memorable quest is its ability to appeal to one or more of four select emotions: curiosity, fear, humor, and/or surprise. Quests that appeal to one's curiosity makes the player want to answer a question or provide additional information about the world and its inhabitants in which the player exists. I'm completing this quest not because I'm excited about getting some stupid magic staff when I'm done, but instead because I get to learn more about my world. The Witcher 3 has perfected this in my opinion, with so many of the game's quests and side quests even expanding on Geralt and his associates' backstory or just the lore in general. Fear is another excellent device that can help a quest be more than just an objective. It makes the player feel alive, and that potential adrenaline rush is unparalleled. We feel excited. An excellent example of this in practice is the quest House of Horrors within the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. When visiting the city of Markarth, the Dragonborn can stumble upon a house with a vigilant Abstendar, basically a priest, standing outside, claiming the home is possessed by a demon and asking the player's assistance in performing an exorcism on whatever spirit is inside. Once inside the home, the Dragonborn and the Vigilant will find themselves locked inside by an evil Daedric god, and the game makes excellent use of dim lighting, claustrophobia, and a terrible sounding booming demonic voice to scare the player. It may not sound awful now, but when I first played through this quest 5 years ago, I had to pause it a couple of times because I was truly, utterly terrified, which is why this particular quest is so memorable all this time later. Humor is used quite a bit too, and it usually comes in the form of irony, and as a result is often accompanied by shock and surprise as well. In Fallout 3, the Vault 108, the player will find that it is inhabited by clones of a man named Gary, who are all utterly incapable of communicating any words except for their own name, Gary, which they say in various different tones. All this when you've been preparing to face off against some horrific super mutants? Come on, that's hilarious. Now, as I've just mentioned, surprise and humor are very often one and the same. Surprise implies a breakaway from normal in general, doing something that the player doesn't expect, or just being overall unorthodox with your title. In many instances, surprises are very ironic, sometimes also making them humorous. Hell, even with the Gary example from Fallout 3 Vault 108, one could argue the reason it was so funny was because the player was caught off guard by it. But surprise and shock can also operate independently as well. Back to Fallout 3 again, in the Oasis you'll find a man who's become part tree, whom you're tasked with either trying to kill or save. A tree person, that's not something anybody was anticipating, and for that reason, chances are if you did play through this quest, you probably may remember a good chunk of it. Now of course these are not the only devices that developers can use to make their quests feel more memorable or entertaining. On some occasions, missions will try to wow the player with massive battle sequences and displays of just how powerful their game is, but that doesn't really require any great amount of writing. But when a quest is able to adequately appeal to one's senses of fear, humor, shock, or curiosity, it'll make that quest far less forgettable and more fun because of it. And I believe the greatest, most memorable, and enjoyable quests often incorporate more than just one of these elements. In Red Dead Redemption, there's a side mission near Amarillo that I still remember very, very well to this day 7 years later. A series of local disappearances prompts John Marston to search for answers. This already sparks the player's curiosity. Marston visits the locations the disappeared were last known to be at, only to find gruesome scenes of mutilated limbs and blood, but no actual victims themselves. The game encourages the player to suspect it's the work of some sort of monster-eating people, maybe a pack of wolves or just some random sociopath, but it incites a very creepy undertone. Eventually, you find out that it's not some sort of monster, pack of wild animals, nor a Dexter type of person, but instead, rather surprisingly, a cannibal, whom you can kill or just leave be to do cannibal things, which I guess means eating people. The mission's name was American Appetites, and its ability to spark my curiosity, spook me out, and surprise me so well is why 7 years later I'm still able to recount it. The gameplay itself was pretty pathetic and monotonous, to be honest. I was just galloping from location to location, watching a bunch of cutscenes. But by using the storytelling devices that it did, this mission remains one of my favorite ever. Quests that are unable to effectively employ these emotional devices will generally be regarded as boring, dull, forgettable filler quests that were only within the game to make it feel and seem a bit longer. These quests encourage the player to complete them, not by offering genuinely fun experiences, but instead in-game incentives, such as new gear, currency, collectibles, and sometimes you just need to complete these quests to progress on to the next one. Fallout 4 was notorious for this, an abundance of monotonous, radiant quests that order the player to go to a random location, kill a bunch of things, maybe pick up up a useless object and come back plagued the game. With little actual entertainment value of their own, they quickly felt more like chores than they did actual fun content. However boring these quests are though, we shouldn't ignore those incentives that the developers use to get players to play them that we just mentioned. If a player knows or believes that they're going to be getting a physical reward in the game for completing a task, be it money, weapons, or some sort of item, they're far more likely to actually attempt that quest and try out that task, drawing the player in. And from there, should the writers and developers make the mission more enjoyable by doing what's been described throughout the video, then the player's far more likely to genuinely be enjoying themselves, and the biggest reward will be the experience itself, and whatever physical in-game items the game provides will then come second. Now, it would be rather naive of me to assume that big-name game developers don't understand this, or at least have some sort of idea. As a matter of fact, we see a lot of games actually employ the very strategy I've just laid out. So the main point of this video wasn't really to teach game developers anything they didn't know, but hopefully shed a little bit of light on why we do and don't like specific quests and missions in a game. Before making this video, I would often wonder why certain missions, like American Appetites and A Night to Remember from Skyrim, always stuck out in my mind, and I believe in making this video, I've kind of found the answer. Of course, as anyone who's seen my NBA bracket choices would tell you, I am far from always correct or complete in my responses, so leave a comment down below if you feel like I missed something or you want to add something to the conversation. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it taught you something about why you do and don't enjoy certain things. If so, a like rating is always very much appreciated. I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.